A deal is reportedly in the works to release as many as 50 Israeli hostages being held by Hamas. The U.S., Qatar, and Egypt are working on brokering the deal. Based on what we know, here's the framework. Hamas would release 50 women and children held hostage since the October 7th attack. As a reminder, Hamas killed around 1,200 Israelis that day in attacks in southern Israel, and then took over 200 more people as hostages. In return for the 50 hostages, Israel would release roughly the same number of Palestinian women and children from Israeli prisons. The deal currently nearing an agreement is expected to include a few days of a pause in fighting and could signal a change in course from the Israeli government. A recent report by The Guardian indicated this isn't the first time a swap came up in talks, and that at multiple points in October, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected deals where hostages would be swapped in exchange for a temporary ceasefire. The deal may take on new urgency for Israel. Israel Defense Forces announced Thursday that they have recovered the body of 65-year-old Yehudit Weiss near the bombed Shifa hospital in Gaza. The hospital is the site of intense Israeli attacks. There are a number of Palestinians feared dead in a days-long offensive on the hospital. The IDF releasing videos they say show Hamas tunnels and weapons inside and underneath. Now, we should note, Scripps News cannot independently verify the IDF's footage that we are showing you here. Families of the remaining hostages have been pushing for Israel to be more proactive in securing the release of those hostages. In recent weeks, Israelis have taken to the streets, and over the last 2 weekends, thousands of Israelis protesting across the country, asking for the government to get hostages released immediately. It's a sentiment echoed by families of hostages we've spoken to as well.
It may already be too late, but it's an urgent situation.
I want my cousin back, but I want all 242 hostages back. And I want to yell it to whoever, is willing to hear me, because we need to get them back.
Tonight, we have another family member of an Israeli believed to be held hostage by Hamas. Daniel Lifshitz is hoping for the release of his 83-year-old grandfather, who's been missing since the October 7th attacks. His grandmother was released last month after 17 days of captivity. Daniel, thank you so much for being with us. For starters, tell me a bit about how the family has been coping with the kidnapping of your grandparents a month ago, and what it's been like to see your grandma come back, but still have to wait for your grandfather.
So first of all, seeing my grandma coming back was overjoy. I mean, what I wish every day is that all the other families of the hostages will feel the same as we felt as a family, that my grandmother came back. It's something that, we didn't imagine something like that will happen. I was so happy to see her. That was just amazing. My grandma is my heart. She and my grandfather, they were raising me in the kibbutz. But a kibbutz is a community, so I'm was so worried about my grandparents, but I have 75 family members that are now held hostages in Gaza. And I know each one of them, and each one of them is my family. It's like my grandparent, is my brother, it's my sister, my kids, my babies. So that's, Kibbutz Nir Oz is facing this, after this massacre, one of each of 4 has been murdered or kidnapped from Kibbutz Nir Oz, from our community, which means 100 people from 400. That number is just insane. I'm here in Austin now, and I try to tell the people, imagine 250,000 people being murdered or kidnapped in Austin. That's a number that we cannot even imagine.
Daniel, if I could try to confirm with you here, you mentioned the 75 people who are still missing. You said these are like family members of yours, or these are your actual family members? Could you clarify that for us?
Well, they are not. Well, they are not blood. They're not in the blood members, but they are as family members for
see.
me. As you know, a kibbutz is a
Yeah.
community where everyone are sharing everything. You know, the financially each one get his portion. Working in the factory, each one work in another place, and it's a community that everyone share. So
Yeah, that's just
each
as
one
you
there
said. It's
was
a community, and everybody works
Yeah.
together. Yeah. I understand. I want to shift our focus. It's admirable that you're putting your thoughts with other families in this moment. But I want to put our focus on your grandfather. Have you heard anything about how your grandpa is doing? Any messages that lets you know they are okay for right now?
What I know about my grandfather, first of all, my grandmother and my grandfather, they were kidnapped at 8:30 in the morning, very early, and they were separated. So they've been taken separately. My grandmother didn't see my grandfather after. And what we know about him that from the army that he's in Gaza. That's the only thing we know. We don't know anything more than that. We look more for information. We hope to hear anything. And as my grandfather is a huge peace activist, journalist, did everything for so many people, took sick people from Gaza Strip every week, him and my grandmother, to the hospitals in Israel to get treatment for cancer and everything they couldn't get in the hospitals in Gaza, and brought them back after the treatment. And so I'm calling for everyone who can get any information about him as well to contact us.
It's good to get to know some of the details about your grandfather, and we hope you do hear about how he's doing soon. There is a proposed agreement on the table between Israel and Hamas to trade Israeli captives for Palestinian prisoners. This is something that American audiences heard President Biden allude to yesterday without giving a lot of additional information. Do you feel like this is a step in the right direction?
Absolutely. It's a must step, and it's a step the Israeli government has to take, and the world has to push for that. We need those people back, and releasing those hostages would be hope for everyone, and that would be the hope for the world. And our community can think that one day it can rebuild itself. So this deal must be taken. If it is possible, if it is on the table, if it can happen, it must happen.
Yeah. The deal must be taken, as you said. Prime Minister Netanyahu reportedly rejected earlier versions of this deal that could have made this progress weeks ago. What's your message to Israel's government about this deal? What is it that you want to say to them?
I don't know about the past deals. I'm not in the intelligence, and I'm not inside the cabinet. And I don't know if any of us knows exactly what happened, but my message is that this deal must be taken. Take the deal. We are fighting for everyone, and everyone back is so important. So this deal, again, must be taken. That's the message I can give.
Daniel Lifshitz, wishing you to get to see both of your grandparents again very soon. Our thoughts are with you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time.